I get the feeling that you have a new puppy, or maybe you're gonna get one. All right, well, if you're doing your research before that puppy comes home, I wanna say, good job. Puppies are a lot of work, and knowing what you're in for can make those first few weeks go a lot smoother. But if you've already got that sweet furry little potato at home, I'm here to help. Now, in today's video, I'm gonna go over 5 key things that you're going to want to teach your new puppy. And if he's a little bit older than the 8-week mark, that's no problem. Just jump right in wherever you can. It'll be fine. Michelle here with How to Train a Dream Dog. All right, so of course, the first thing most people are going to want to work on with that new puppy when they come home is potty training. Yep, I totally agree with them. Now, if you're wondering how to get going on this, go ahead and check out this free, amazing resource, my new puppy starter kit. It's going to get you off on the right paw for the potty training. Now, crate training is another one that people want to work on right away. So stick around, I'm going to go into that in just a minute. Next, some people want to jump right into sit and down and stay and drop it. Well, I'm going to say not so fast. Now remember that your puppy's brain is really underdeveloped right now, and there's some maturing and growing that really needs to be done before they can absorb all those complicated skills. In addition, you've got to lay some foundation down first. You don't just start teaching algebra. You start with addition and subtraction and multiplication and probably a little bit more. Today's 5 things are really a foundational work. So this means that it's going to be best to start before you get those other skills going. And you're definitely going to want to do these before any of those fun party tricks like roll over and play dead and shake. All right, if you want to know more about why you shouldn't teach those skills first, go ahead and check out my free Better Puppy Behavior Workshop to learn more about how dogs think and learn and how best to train them. Okay, the moment you've been waiting for. Here's something you're going to want to teach your puppy right away. Food comes from you. Now, you might have heard me say in some of my other videos that I strongly recommend an established schedule, especially around meal times. Not only does this help create a schedule for you to watch the bathroom habits of your puppy, but it creates training opportunities around mealtime. Most 8-week-old puppies need to be fed about 3 times a day, and I recommend that you put down the food for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. And then you're going to pick it up again and use it maybe for the next meal if they didn't eat it all. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details on feeding. You can watch this video here for more information. But suffice to say that free feeding is going to make your training and potty training a lot harder. But teaching that puppy that food comes at an established time can help them learn that food comes from the human. Now, that helps them focus on you, which will continue into the future as you begin training games and learning new skills. Now, having your pup tuned in to you for information or for valuable resources, think food and play and reinforcement, this totally helps create that bond and build trust. Now keep in mind that we never want to use food for anything negative. We don't want to withhold it or offer it in a stressful environment. Now, I know you'd never do that. So just remember that mealtime should be pleasurable and stress-free. Now, if your dog doesn't seem to enjoy it or find it positive, something needs to change. Many pups aren't very treat motivated when they first come home, and sometimes they don't eat much for the first few days. That's totally normal. Now, I'm just saying that if you have a really busy household with other animals running around and kids playing noisily right next to where the puppy's eating, well, you might want to change it up to make it a more pleasant experience and a calmer location for your pup. Just like food, treats also come from the human, which furthers that pup's focus on you. Now, sometimes students of my online course ask me how to deliver the treats in a way that the puppy doesn't jump or bite at their hand. Now, there's a way to do it. It just takes a little practice for the human to get it right. Now, the way I do it is to keep the treat in a closed fist. And then when it comes time to deliver them, I quickly rotate my wrist and flatten out my palm and my fingers, and the pup can eat off my hand, just like you'd feed a horse. Now, you don't want to do it too quickly or enough that the pup is going to jump up or overly excited jump at it. You also want to deliver it at the pup's level, again, so he doesn't have to jump for it. Here's a demonstration. If you're struggling with biting in other scenarios, like when you're trying to play or when you're trying to put the leash on or even just go for a walk through the house, check out this video here. All right, another thing to teach your puppy shortly after he comes home is how to tolerate that leash and collar going on. Think of these objects as very foreign to a dog. They don't come naturally to them. They have no idea what you're trying to do to them. They don't wear a leash and collar when they're born. And many people say that the collar is irritating the dog because he keeps scratching when it's put on. Well, that might be true, but it's actually more likely that the collar is stressful and the scratching is a sign that the dog is uncomfortable. And I don't mean physically. Desensitizing these tools comes by associating them with something positive and start their introduction slowly so the pup has a chance to get used to them. Now, in my online course, one of the first games I teach is the bump it game with your hand. And then I recommend that people use that same game with new things, like the leash and a collar or a harness. Now, you're going to need this leash and collar right away for potty trips outside or even training games. So this is one of the first things that you should be working on with your puppy. And of course, you might have to use it before you've desensitized it. But if you work on that positive association right away and you offer some tasty treats as rewards, it shouldn't take too much time. All right, before I give you my third item to teach your puppy, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you get notified when my next great video goes live. Okay, next up, we have crate confidence. This means a pup who is comfortable napping or even awake in the crate. Now, being confident also means the puppy is not panicking or having potty accidents in the crate, and who comes out calmly when you give that release word. Does that sound like a tall order? It's not that hard once you get the hang of it and you start working through those fun crate games with your puppy. I have a few that I mentioned in this video here, starting at around about 2-minute 45-second mark, and the others can be found inside my online course. Now, when doing the crate games, it can be easier if you're using a metal crate because then you can see inside better, and it's easier to deliver the treat at the back when the pup is all the way in. But I've actually started recommending the plastic crates more frequently, as it seems like the puppies are finding it a little bit easier to settle into them. So if you're using a plastic crate, it might take a little bit more creativity in getting that treat in for that training game. I also want you to practice some games with the door opening process. So what we're looking for is a dog who waits calmly inside the crate for you to use that release word before coming out. We don't want any kind of pushy, rushing the door kind of behaviors as you're trying to open it. Now, you can teach this with a series of games of gently closing the door and waiting for your pup to remain calm before you open it again. And you might have to do this with just a few inches of opening or closing at a time to send the message that calm behavior equals the door opening. So in a case like this, letting the puppy out is often enough of a reward. And if you did use treats, it might make the situation too exciting. Now, this confidence of teaching your pup to be calm while in the crate will also extend into your puppy pen as well. Now, keep in mind that puppies who are young do not come hardwired with this confidence a lot of the time. It has to be built in. So just like if you're learning how to swim, you need to work up to it slowly and grow into your skills so that you can swim in deeper water. Now, puppies grow confidence through these training games, and by the human slowly increasing the duration of the time the puppy is in the crate as well as the distance away. So we're definitely wanting to avoid panic from the puppy. That will not grow their confidence. Now, in my online course, we recently added some extra video lessons on how to help a puppy who's struggling in the crate and what to do if they're panicking. Now, not all pups are going to struggle, but if you have one that does, consider getting some help from my online course. Then you can continue in the course to teach all the other great stuff the course offers, like leash skills and recall, and sit and down and stay and leave it. Now, when you get the hang of the crate training games, you can play them in the pen as well. So the pup can hang out quietly in their pen while you tend to other activities in the house. Now, this kind of skill definitely doesn't come naturally to many puppies. So setting aside some specific time to work on it and having a lot of patience is totally key here. All right, next up on the list of what to teach your puppy. How about their name? We call this name game, and it's pretty self-explanatory. We do what's called loading the name, where we associate the puppy's name with positive reinforcement. And eventually we call his name, and when he turns his head, we use a marker word like yes. and then we immediately follow it up with the treat. Now, this is one of the first games to teach your puppy, and it's a pretty fun one too. Honestly, most pups are pretty compliant at this age, and just the sound of your voice is probably enough to get their attention. But by using his name and pairing it with a treat, you're going to really teach him that looking at you when you call him is a good thing. So this is the beginning of also what we kind of call recall, teaching him that good things happen when he's tuned into you. Now, more great information on recall can be found in this video that we just did recently. Once he's good at looking at you when you call his name, you're going to want to practice it when he's not paying attention to you. Now, if you've gone slow enough and you used a memorable treat, he's going to start to get it. Practice makes progress on this one, and really all the games we have. All right, one of my students likes to place small bowls of kibble all over the house. Then, when he sees an opportunity to practice a new game for a minute or two with his pup, they're ready to go with that reward. The last thing I think you should teach your 8-week-old puppy is how to play with a toy, maybe like a bobble-at or something similar. Now, these are a little more challenging than a typical rope toy or a ball that they'd play with. These toys require the puppy to do a little problem solving and kind of a little detective work. Sometimes puppies need a little human engagement in order to help them understand what to do. Now, you do this by encouraging them when they're getting closer or resetting it to a start over if they've been struggling. Now, if you can break it down into micro steps for them, they're going to have an easier time figuring it out and getting it. Micro steps might be showing first how the bobble-at moves. Then maybe pull a treat out to show the puppy that there's actually something inside. Then we eventually show the puppy which way it moves to cause a treat to fall out. So don't expect perfection right away, especially with this game or some of the other tougher ones. And if your dog isn't sure he likes it, and maybe he barks at it or he's scared of it, that's okay too. You didn't waste your money. Just put it away for a little while and bring it back out again in the future. If you have a sound-sensitive dog, look for toys that don't make a lot of noise. If your dog likes to chew, maybe get that kind of toy that requires more work to get things out. Now, this video here was one of my favorites because I got to test out a lot of different products with my dogs. Pickles especially loved filming that one. He got to play with all the toys. It's all about fillable toys and which ones I like. Check it out and tell me which ones your dog likes. Okay, I'm gonna assign you just a little bit of homework here now that we've gone over all this advice. I want you to film one of the things that I suggested in this video. Maybe you're gonna film you playing Bump It with the leash or the collar. Or maybe you're going to get the bobble-at out and or a similar toy, and you can film your dog playing with it. Whatever you film, just share a little snippet of it with me inside my Facebook group, Puppy Training with Michele Lennon. And if you use the hashtag YouTube homework, I'm going to take a look at that and give you some feedback on what I see that's going well and maybe some stuff that needs some improvement. This is your chance to get just a little personalized feedback from me. All right, definitely take advantage of it. All right, in the comments below, tell me what's the first thing you're going to teach your 8-week-old puppy when he or she comes home.